Okay, guys, Faith First Farm here again. I decided to get back into doing some informational stuff. Had to put my phone on top of the solar charger thing that we've got. Kitty's sitting on my books. I wanted to introduce you guys to the other books in the series. You have The Lost Book of Herbal Remedies, which I have done a couple videos on. The first one wasn't very good, but this one is The Lost Ways. Hopefully that will show the right way around. If not, well, it did on my computer, but anyway, this is Claude Davis is, let me see, I do believe one of the authors. S. Patrick, Susan Morrow, Eric Bainbridge, M. Taylor, Teresa Ann DeMario, Lex Rooker, S. Walter, Shannon Azairs, M. Searson, Fergus Mason, G. Arminius, M. Richard, Jimmy Neal, James Walton, and P. Vlad. It has a whole bunch of how the early pioneers built self-feeding fire, what you'll need, how to build the self-feeding fire quickly, tips, survival food of the U.S. Civil War, how to make hardtack biscuits, last pioneer recipes from the 18th century, and there's a whole bunch of different stuff in there. How North American natives and early pioneers made pemmican. Nutritional qualities, directions, ingredients, rendering the fat, dried meat preparation, how much do I need? Delicious recipes using cattails. The supermarket of the swamp. Alternative practical applications, medicine, fuel, and illumination, recipes for cattails. How the pioneers built their smokehouses. Now see, I'll be interested in that one. Step-by-step guide on how to build a smokehouse the pioneer way. How to smoke meat the right way. How sailors from the 17th century preserved water in their ships for months on end. Long-term water storage, filtering water supplies, silver coins. How our ancestors made candles and glue out of pine resin. How to make glue out of pine resin. How the sheriffs of the frontiers defended their villages and towns. What our ancestors were foraging for, or how to wildcraft your table. And then it goes into a whole bunch of different wild plants, edible plants and stuff. Making sourdough and traditional and survival bark bread. How to make sourdough starter. How to make tasty bread like in 1869. Making bark bread called famine bread. Trapping in winter for beaver and muskrat, just like our forefathers did. Tanning, how our ancestors made herbal poultice to heal their wounds. What is a poultice? Poultice recipes. Our ancestors' guide to root cellars, history, the right space for the job, creating the ideal conditions, storage ideas, things do and do not belong in your root cellar, proper storage. Good old-fashioned cooking on an open flame, cast iron cooking, roasting meats, Dutch oven cooking, recipes past and future, how our ancestors navigated without using a GPS system, making your own beverages, beer to stronger stuff, a bit of stronger stuff, distilling your own moonshine, well, I'm not going to do that, but Wild West guns for SHTF, how they made gunpowder, and a guide to rolling your own ammo, modern firearms, reloading components, casting bullets, how to make gunpowder the old-fashioned way. Okay, guys, I'm not going to go into a long thing of this because I don't want to be, hunted down by the government here. Primers, reloading equipment, storage of ammunition and components, how much ammunition is enough. How our forefathers made knives, how North Carolina Native Americans built their semi-subterranean roundhouse, how and why I prefer to make soap with modern ingredients. Okay. Machinery and equipment for making soap at home. So how do you make soap? Temporarily installing a wood-burning stove during emergencies. Practical survival lessons from the Donner Party. Okay. Survival lessons. Learning from our ancestors how to take care of our hygiene when there isn't anything to buy. Soap making the old-fashioned way. Homemade toothpaste. How our forefathers made snowshoes for survival. How our forefathers built their sawmills, grain mills, and stamping mills. Making that force usable. Gears. Building your own water wheel. So, as you can see, there's a whole lot of different stuff in this book. Lost ways. And I'm going to start doing videos from these books. And, give you guys some good lessons here. And this one is The Lost Superfoods. This book was conceived to help you build a long-lasting, nutrient-rich stockpile using the time-tested foods of our grandparents from a time when there was no refrigeration. If you are concerned about your family's future, about the next crisis, or widespread food shortages, then this book is for you. Compared to our grandparents' generation, most of us are ill-prepared today. We rely too much on refrigerators and supermarkets and too little on ourselves. Most of us today are at the mercy of others, but we just don't realize it yet. Until now, some of these powerful survival foods that made our grandparents so self-reliant have been lost to history. I know that for a fact before writing The Lost Superfoods, I had been looking everywhere for a book like this one. So I hope you'll make good use of these superfoods I've managed to save for you and begin building the most inexpensive yet nutrient-rich and long-lasting food stockpile you can ever imagine. That's how you can keep your family safe when all hell breaks loose and food becomes the most sought-after item. Your friend, Art Rude. 126 plus survival foods and tips for your stockpile. Okay. Doomsday ration, recipe, directions, how to make homemade Spam. Definitely probably taste better than the one in the store. The superfood used by Japan's elite assassins on month-long missions. How to make bread on a stick. The 3-year shelf life of Viking survival food. How to make Native American pemmican again. How to make delicious biltong with 1-year shelf life. And the methods. Arul, the superfood. Arul. A-A-R-U-U-L. Blah. Superfood that helped the Mongols ride to the gates of Vienna. And the method on how to do it. Making boiled butter, ghee, or clarified butter. That is something I definitely want to do. How to make bark bread. Once again, it's in this one too. How to make homemade bread in a can. How to make beef jerky and the methods. How to make delicious lard with 2 years shelf life plus 5 tasty recipes. Canning Amish poor man steak. How to make mountaineer tuna stroganoff. How to make and smoke kielbasa sausages. The native superfood that saved American colonists during the winter of 1621. Johnny cakes. How to make hardtack biscuits. That was in the other one as well. How to make Three Sisters soup. How to make tarhana dough and tarhana soup. Bean and rice survival soup. The nutrient-packed oil that lasts at least for 5 years on the shelf. How to make Ottoman Empire shelf-stable meat. Fermenti, the food that saved Europe during the Dark Ages. How to make peanut butter powder. How to make bully beef, the emergency survival food of World War I. How to make fruit leather and add it to your stockpiles. How to make portable soup that saved the Lewis and Clark expedition. Canning pasta sauce for long-term preservation. Now, I have done that, and it turned out pretty good. Deliciously dehydrated chili bean soup. How to make a nutrient-packed sauerkraut. I actually want to grow our own cabbage and make that myself from the methods that I've learned from Doug and Stacy. Just $5 a week can get your family over 295 pounds of food. Okay, you got to be careful with that because a lot of your grocery store shelf foods are very, very highly processed and not healthy, and they will not help you in any way nutrient-wise. 19 foods that will outlast you. 22 ingenious hacks to make food last longer. How to mix your foods for maximum benefit. Canning vegetables. Pressure canning meats. How to pickle meats for long-term storage. Pressure canning bacon. 7 deadly canning mistakes even smart people make. How to preserve half a pig for a year without refrigeration. How to repackage foods in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers for long-term survival. Do-it-yourself $20 survival food bucket. How to keep eggs fresh for a year with isinglass. Okay. Preserve eggs with mineral oil. You can also water glass. What to do with your frozen food if the power goes out. How to prevent your foods from going rancid. How the British survived during the Nazi blockade. 50 foods to dehydrate for your stockpile. Amaranth superfood, storing and using it for survival. Preserve your cheese for years using this method. How to make 2,400 calorie emergency ration bars designed to feed you for a full day. How to make delicious MREs at home and edible plants you can find in the wild. So once again, as you can see, there's a ton of information in this. You know, a ton of information, a ton of recipes. And again, we're going to go through these books. So look forward to tons and tons of videos, you guys. Now this one is a self-sufficient backyard for the independent homesteader, sorry. And again, I don't know if it's going to show it forward in this video. My computer did, but I don't know if this will. This comprehensive manual includes topics such as off-grid power, homestead design, homestead water, gardening, food preservation, raising chickens, beekeeping, composting, and more. This is basically like, beginning homesteading, that kind of thing, which we've covered in a couple of other books. Beginning, the first homestead, time for a change, move to the wilderness, the final frontier, the last homestead. That's all chapter 1. 40 years homesteading, where it all began. Again, that's all chapter 1. Chapter 2 is the homestead plan. More questions, sketch details. Chapter 3 is site selection, one step at a time. Homestead layout. Chapter 4 is road building. Chapter 5, homestead water, drilled wells and hand pumps. Hand-dug wells and piston pumps. Machine-dug wells, disinfection. I can't talk today. Homestead water filtration, homestead hot water, rainwater catchment. Chapter 6 is house floor planning, dirty and clean areas, homestead kitchen. Chapter 7 is off-grid power, basic electricity, batteries, solar panels, charge controllers, the inverter, an example design, wind turbines. Chapter 8 is the orchard, growing zones, berry planting, grapes, rhubarb, a vegetable or fruit. I think it's a fruit. Fruit tree planting, controlling pest and disease. Chapter 9, homestead gardening, your first garden, container gardening, which I suck at. Let there be light. Edible landscapes, choose garden system. The shape our garden takes, plan the layout, crop rotation, which is very important. Soil building and preparation, organic fertilizers, vegetable seed selection. Let's get the garden started. Ready to plant. Succession planting and intercropping. Mulch and fertilize, insects and diseases, varmint control. Season extenders, the plant protection, the solar greenhouse, which that's an idea actually. 7 cash cow crops. Guide to common garden vegetables, winter gardening, culinary herbs. Medicinal garden. Chapter 10, easy on the back gardening, raised bed gardening. Hay or straw bale gardens, a keyhole garden. Chapter 11, seed saving, which is also very important. Chapter 12, food preservation, freezing fruits and vegetables, freezing meats, canning equipment, canning foods, general principles, canning vegetables, fruits, fruit juices, jams, jellies, preserves, meats, drying or dehydrating, root cellaring, curing, smoking, or other off-grid means of food storage of staples, making apple cider vinegar. Chapter 13, busy as bees, building a hive, equipment, potential issues, How to start a new bee colony. Harvesting honey, chapter 14, introduction to chickens, chicken breeds, the chicken coop and run. Starting the flock, feed and bedding, chicken processing. Chapter 15, composting, recycling human waste. Chapter 16, you could do the impossible. Tools of the trade, real world examples. Safety first, homestead fuel storage, and chapter 17, parting thoughts. So, I really do like this book. It has a lot of good ideas and stuff like that in it. So, I'm kind of thinking of maybe starting with this one. So, anyway, that was the introduction to those particular books. I do not have the No Grid Survival projects yet. I do plan on getting that one. Anyway, so I just wanted to introduce those books, and that's going to be the beginning of going through these. So there's going to be informational videos in between, showing what we're doing on the property and that kind of thing. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get off from here, and I'll get this uploaded. It's going to take probably a little bit to get this uploaded, but I will see you guys in the next video, and remember to do your research, guys. And it's Faith First Farm and Homestead, and we are out. Bye, guys.